Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my monthly making podcast where I talk about everything I've been making in the past month, whether it be knitting, crocheting. I don't have any weaving today, but sometimes I do. But if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at Pineapple Yarn or my online yarn shop at pineappleyarn.com. So I have been thinking for a couple of months now that I really need to break up this monthly podcast of everything I've been working on. I really need to break it up into two because I've just been finding that I've been making a lot and it's really hard for me to have a really long podcast because it just takes a long time to upload and to edit. But then secondly, and probably most importantly, I keep forgetting things. So case in point, I actually forgot a ton of things last month. I had a basket full of the things that I had been working on that I'd finished actually, and I completely forgot about them until even a week or two after I had filmed. It is just ridiculous. So we'll see how this next month goes. I may be filming one in the next couple of weeks. We'll just see. But I'm going to have a pretty long episode, so just get ready. Get a drink, get something to work on, and let's get started. So the one thing that I cannot believe that I forgot to show you is my finished Neon Sunshine shawl, and this was a test knit that I had completed for Amber O'Brien, who's a wonderful pattern designer, and it was just such a fun little kind of bite-size pattern, and I really enjoyed it. So this was a test knit. It's out now, the full pattern's out, and she had released this for a June solstice knit along, and I had kits in my shop. They're actually all sold out, unfortunately, but I knit the small size on this. I thought it turned out so pretty with all of these neon colors. I thought they just were so much like summery and fun. And I also used the kit that I had in the shop, which was all these different colors. And then I also just used I call it natural. It's just a bare undyed wool in my shop. So I thought those were really, really nice together. And the way that I styled it that I thought was cute is I actually folded it into a triangle and then tied it around my neck, kind of like a bandana. I'm worried that I'm going to mess up my microphone, so I don't want to wear it. And it's really hot here. It is so hot here. So I'm just going to keep it off for now. But I just wanted to show you the finished object because I thought it was really fun. And the only modifications I made on this is that I sized down to a US size 3 needle because that is what I like to knit garter stitch in fingering weight yarn with. That I just know that if a pattern has garter stitch, it's fingering weight, it's a shawl, it doesn't really matter about the gauge. This is the fabric that I like to get with a US size 3. And I think that was maybe sizing down, I mean, even 2 needle sizes. I think the pattern called for a US 5. So I tend to be on the loose side of knitters, and so I always size down, usually size down. But this was a fun pattern, and it was a really great test knit, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to do it. The next finished object that I have is, I had a pair of socks, almost two pairs of socks. And they were from a video that I released that was kind of a tutorial, kind of walked through how I knit my socks. And I use a hybrid knitting method, which I will, if you've watched my videos before, you will know what I'm talking about. But these are the 2 socks that I finished in the video. They are my Endless Summer colorway. And I paired them with coordinating tonals, and this is Pineapple Yarn in Poolside, which I think is just so beautiful. I think it works so well with this colorway. And then this is kind of a deep stash. It might be Madeline Tosh from a long time ago, but I am not sure. So how I do all of my hybrid socks is I crank them on my circular sock machine, which is an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. And the method I used this time is I actually cranked an entire 100-gram skein for these socks. And the way that I do this is I crank a long tube and then I divided them up with 2 circular needles, and I use a Addy Rocket size 2.25 millimeter to do that. Then I hand knit the heels, toes, and cuffs. So the cuffs are a 2x2 rib, so knit 2, purl 2 rib, 15 rounds, and then I did Jeny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, which I love doing for anything that really needs a stretchy cuff. The heels and toes are the same kind of method. They're just a short row method. So one end is a knit 2 together and one end is a slip slip knit. And the toes and the heels are the same shape because I construct them exactly the same. So if you're interested in the details of how I knit those socks, I will link that video below. But these are completed and they're a nice long pair of socks for me. And then what I like to do if I crank an entire 100-gram skein is I like to save half of the tube or the sock tube for gift knitting. And I like, if I have the time and if I want to, which usually I don't have a problem doing, but I like to knit the toes and the cuffs on both of the socks, but I like to leave the heel off. And the reason I do that is because I can easily knit them for anyone who would like a pair of socks, any kind of gift knitting. So the way I measure my foot length is, for me, I think the most comfortable length is about a 10% negative ease from your actual foot length. So if you know someone's shoe size, or I mean, it's great if you know their actual foot length, but if you know someone's shoe size, there are charts online you can just do a search for and look it up. And let's say they have a 10-inch long foot, then you just take 10% of that, which would be an inch, and knit. You want to make sure your finished foot length is about 9 inches. And the nice thing is about knitting heels and toes in the same construction is because you can knit your toe and measure that, and you will know how long the heel will be, and you just subtract that from your from the total. So you can measure down, and this is usually, a toe is usually about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, depending on how many stitches you have. So let's say it's 1.5 inches and you want your total foot length to be 9 inches. After subtracting 10% negative ease, you would want to go with a 7.5-inch foot length. Does that make sense? I hope so. I think you understand where I'm going with this though. So you would just measure down 7.5 inches and then put your circular needle in here and just cut in for a heel. It's really simple to do once you get the math down and overcome any kind of a worry about cutting into your sock. It's very simple. So this is my endless summer socks that I finally finished after months of taking footage, finishing, every part that I knit. They took a really long time to finish. So those are nice to finally be done. My next pair of socks I used with a Homespun house yarn, and this was a Patreon colorway. I'm sorry, I don't have the label anymore, but I loved how these turned out. The colorway is beautiful. I love the pooling. Of course, anyone who takes photos of their knitting or records their knitting, you will probably have figured out that the pooling is always worse in photos and on camera. but I shouldn't say worse, it's just more pronounced. In person, this is actually very, you don't see the pattern of the pooling so much. So this is just such a beautiful yarn. I think it's a beautiful colorway. I really liked the colors in here. And then this mini was also included, which is beautiful. This is the same method that I used on my Endless Summer hybrid socks. I cranked them at 60 stitches around and then cut in for the heels, toes, and cuffs. The only difference is this was a 50-gram sock set. So the main skein was 50 grams along with a 20-gram skein. So just one pair of socks out of this, which is just fine. It's great. And yeah, I love the yarn that Molly from A Homespun House uses for her dyeing because it's so soft and just really, really lovely colorways. So that is done, and I'll be excited to add those to my drawer of socks. The last finished object that I have as far as socks go, these are such a fun pair. I really love these. These are my March 2025 socks, and this was a colorway when I started doing my monthly colorways. Before I did my monthly clubs, I would just stock these in the shop. So I love how this turned out. I have all those pops of mint and the purples, lots of really pretty greens. I love how it kind of did this micro stripe pooling. Oh, it's just so pretty. I love how hand-dyed yarn pools. I just think it's amazing. It's so pretty. And I paired this with a bright mint colorway, which is also one of my colorways from Pineapple Yarn. And I had a little leftover of this colorway, which I think is called, I think this is Passionate, but it was not labeled. It was just a little tiny bit that I could add for the heel. So I think these turn out so pretty. I love them. And I do have some more of this yarn still in the shop in case you are interested. But yeah, it's just a hybrid sock, same method, same counts and everything as the other socks. So that was really fun. Fun to finish, really fun, satisfying colorway to knit up. I love those micro stripes. I almost forgot 2 more finished objects. I have a lot of finished objects because I forgot them last week or last month. So the first one is the Golden Cardigan, and it's a pattern I purchased on Etsy. It is a crochet pattern, and it's by Wonder Netting. It is kind of a lacy cardigan, and I modified it quite a bit because the original pattern is a very cropped long sleeve cardigan, and I lengthened it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it so well, but I lengthened it and then also did not have long sleeves on it. So, oh, and I don't have a fastener for the front because my daughter decided she wasn't really going to use it. So here's what it looks like open, and you can see this large pattern right here, and then all of this, I actually repeated it up here and then did decreases for the front. The back is all one piece, but I think it turned out really pretty. So what you do is you construct the left front and then the right front, construct the back, and then put a, I guess the edging would be the last. But then what I did is for the sleeve, I maybe did, I think I did a row of single crochet and then a row of double crochet, and then the scalloped edging that is called for in the pattern. And that's all I did for the sleeve, and it turned out really nice because it's more of a drop shoulder pattern, and so you already have kind of a little sleeve started. So adding just a little bit more kind of length, you know, just lengthen that sleeve a little bit more. And then you add a scallop all the way around the front, right here, around the neckline, and then around the other side. This is very difficult to show you. This is how it turned out. And this, I crocheted the second size of this pattern. It's very cute on. My daughter loves it, but it's just nice to wear over a dress or something that's sleeveless, especially when you go inside and it's just over air conditioned, it's a little chillier, or if you just want to, I don't know, it's a cute accessory too over anything that's like sleeveless or strappy or a garment like that. I used the called for hook in this pattern, which is an F hook. And I also used the called for yarn, which is Hobbii Baby Cotton in the, I think, color number 2. I had never used this yarn before, but I figured I might as well just use the yarn that's called for in the pattern because I really, really liked the texture and the design, and it was really cute and it had potential, but I did have to heavily modify it. It's not available on Ravelry, only available on Etsy. I will link it below. And so yeah, I was really happy with the way it turned out. It is, it's charted and it's also written. So I kind of did a hybrid of the two in order to get the right stitch counts. And once you get started though, it's very simple to read the chart and easy to follow along. There's also video, a video tutorial, which is very helpful. And I did watch a little bit of that just to get started. So yeah, I was really happy with this, and my daughter's already been wearing it, so that's good. And I'm actually starting my second one, which I will show you in just a minute. I have one more finished object, and this one has been languishing for so long, but I finally got it finished. This is the Ellen's cardigan, and it is a pattern by Petite Knit. I modified it slightly. I did not add the little welt pockets, mostly because I just kind of forgot about them, to be honest. And I didn't put buttonholes. So if you've been watching my podcast for a while, you'll recognize this little sweater. It's so cute and bright. How cute is that? I knit this with my one of my yarns from Pineapple Yarn. It is on the Neon Confetti DK base, and the colorway is Lemon. So it is very bright, and it's a primary yellow. It's so pretty, and it has all of these confetti, kind of neon confetti neps in them. And I can confirm, because my kids, I made an offhand comment to them the other day about how some of my yarn glows under a black light because it's neon, and so they promptly took all of their hand knit items to see which ones actually glowed under black light. And this, the color of because this actual color is not neon, it doesn't glow, but all of these neps glow under black light. So that was so much fun to test out. But with all Petite Knit patterns, it's a very easy, straightforward pattern. And the only thing that I had trouble with is that the buttonholes are constructed after the fact. And I think in the original pattern, it is maybe a fingering weight and a strand of mohair silk that are held together. And I didn't use that. I just used a DK weight yarn. And one of you, thank you if this was your comment, because it was totally something I hadn't thought of. You suggested just using snaps, and it was such a great idea. So I used these big snaps. I don't know why I use such big snaps, but I did. I used these huge snaps, and I think I probably just got them on Amazon. That was the easiest, simplest place I could find them. And then I sewed them on, and then I used these cute heart buttons. And I am almost convinced that I purchased these on Etsy in just, you know, a pack of 10 or something. I am not sure how this is going to hold up. I think the sweater itself will hold up great, but the snaps are just maybe a little fiddly. They're very secure, and that's kind of one of the problems, is that they're so secure that I'm afraid that my daughter's going to have a hard time snapping and unsnapping them. But I have a feeling that once she does it over and over, or if I can do it for her, they will kind of loosen up and not be so hard. But it was just regular cardigan, not steeked, purl rows, back and forth knitting. It is knit in the round though. So it's a raglan construction. The sleeves go on hold, and you continue with the top-down construction. So it's very simple, and it's a nice little cardigan. So that one's done. I'm glad to put that to rest, because that was on my needles for a really long time. And as much as I love knitting for my children, I would like to knit for myself as well. So the golden cardigan, the crochet cardigan that I just shared with you, is very fast. It is so fast to crochet. And I will actually share with you, where is it? Here it is. Yesterday I sat down and I actually crocheted the front pieces in no time. It was so fast. Now for my second golden cardigan, this is what I have so far. And it is going to be a cropped cardigan, but for my younger daughter. So she is not taller than me, which the first one was for my daughter, who's taller than me, but she's tiny. She's still really little. So she wanted a cute little cardigan to wear for the summer. And just like with the bigger one, I am going to crochet this short sleeves, same cotton, which is the Hobbii baby cotton. And I actually have a ball of this. This is a slightly different color. It's color number 1, which is a whiter color. I'll show you the difference. So maybe you can kind of see this is a whiter color. This is color number 1. And this was more of like an off-white, color number 2, which I think both of them are really nice. Let's see. Color number 1. I am going to have too many balls of this, I can tell you that. So each ball is 50 grams, which is 170 meters or 185 yards. And I still have 2 full balls of this. And then for the fronts, which I constructed yesterday, you can see. So they're very small and cropped. I am crocheting the smallest size, which is very fast. And so I'm doing no repeats of this pattern to lengthen or anything. So it's much faster. And I still have, I have not weighed it, but I still have this much left of the first ball, which is very interesting. And I don't know, I'll probably end up using maybe 2 balls and that's it. But yeah, so I just have to do the back, and then the little bit of sleeve, I'll have her try it on and just kind of figure out my own sleeve. It'll probably be, you know, just a little couple rounds and then a scallop edge, and then the scallop edge all the way around here. She may want maybe some ties or something, but we'll just see what she wants when I get there, when I get done. So that has been kind of a fun pattern that I just started yesterday. I guess the second iteration of the golden cardigan. I'm also nearly finished with a pair of socks that I will just show you real quick. I showed these, I think last month maybe, on the podcast, and I'm finished with one sock, and I'm doing the heel mid-round, of course, on the second sock. So this is such a pretty, just fun colorway with those speckles. This is a self-striping yarn, so I didn't have to do any work to get them to look like this. This is another hybrid sock, but I used a different cylinder. It is a 54 stitch cylinder on my sock machine. And I cranked this tube. This was I think a 50-gram skein from Area 51 Fibers, who has really good colorways, really interesting colorways. This is called The Truth Is Out There. I think it's an X-Files reference. And then the contrast is a Woolberry Fiber Co. color on her berry tweed base. And I can't remember what the color is. Oh yes, it's called Forage. So this is such a fun pairing, and these are for my little boy, so I wanted to do some colors he would enjoy, and he loves hand knit socks so much. I think what I'm going to do with these when I'm done is I'm going to kind of tuck them away and not get them out until it's November, until it's like truly, you know, like you could wear socks here. I am in coastal South Carolina, and it is very warm here for much of the year. So he will put these on now, and it is in the 90s, and that's ridiculous. So I am going to set those aside. And how cute is this charm that I have on there? Oh my goodness. How cute is that? I will link the shop below. I love this Progress Keeper so much. So cute. So I'm almost done with these. Just a few more. You can kind of see the heel forming. Just a few more rounds on it, and then I will bind off. But I'm also doing a knit one, purl one cuff, as you can see. So that's a little different. And I may have only done 10 rounds. It looks like I did 10 rounds on this cuff, so just a little bit shorter for him. He's 7, so I think it's appropriate to do maybe a little shorter cuff on his socks. The interesting thing is with a 54 stitch round is that you end up with an uneven number of stitches if you're knitting with a circular needle. So if you are knitting magic loop, you end up getting 27 stitches per needle. And when I knit my socks, I'm knitting with 60 stitches, so I get 30 stitches on each needle. It's very easy math to kind of decrease and everything. But it is interesting with 27 stitches on each needle and then decreasing on each side every other round. I have to remember it's okay to have an odd number. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does throw me off a little bit. I always think that maybe I've missed a decrease or something, but those are nice. And I have a few more sock tubes for him. I think I maybe have 2 more, so he'll have a few more socks for the winter, which is nice. Okay, I've got my giant large project basket here. I sell these in the shop in case you need storage for lots of projects. I've got a couple things in here that are large, so this is a perfect basket. The first thing that I have just been loving this pattern so much. I can't remember if I had started on this last month or not, but this is a really great cardigan. I'm so excited about it. It is by Noro. It was actually in the Noro magazine. I'll show you my black and white copy that I'm using. And it is called Spectra. The only modification that I've done so far is I've gone down a needle size from the recommended. So the recommended needle sizes are a US 7 and 8, and I have used a US 6 and 7. And I have finished the front, both sides of the front. So this is what I have so far. Isn't that pretty? I should show you the yarn before it's all knit up. Here we go. So here's the yarn. Isn't it packaged so cute? Like, this is so pretty. And it's huge. It's just a huge amount. So for my size, which is a small size, I purchased 3 of these. And this is Noro Haruito in the color Ono. It's so pretty, like this lavender and this blue. Oh, and then I love these like tan colors. So pretty. So it is a bottom-up pattern, which I usually really dislike. I'm just going to be honest. I like to be able to try things on. I like to be able to modify the length because I am petite, and so I just like to be able to control the size a little bit more. But what I did is I kind of measured what the finished length was supposed to be and ballparked what my length would I prefer my length to be, and reduce that by a few inches. So I think it will work out. I've tested it on my body. I think it'll be great. But oh, I just love this stitch pattern. It's a very simple, just increase, decrease. Sorry, not increase, but decreases in yarn overs. You have the 2x2 rib at the bottom. And I am using a fair amount of color management at this point because I really want the colors to line up as much as I can. And so I started what I thought was the same point for this one. Let's see if I can get these. So you can see them side by side. That's pretty good for matching. I think that looks actually really good. And so since these will be sitting kind of side by side like this, it would be nice to have them as coordinating as possible, as matching as possible. So those are done. And now I am to the back, which has been really fun, but this is not a fast knit whatsoever. I think because it is a worsted weight yarn and the fiber content is really beautiful. It is silk, cotton, and polyamide, and so it doesn't have a lot of stretch with that silk and that cotton, but it's also, oh, it is so soft, and it's going to be so nice in hot, humid weather. It's just, you know, it's just nice to have just a little cover up, or especially in the humidity, a yarn like this feels so nice. But let me show you the back. I have these cute little Monstera needle stoppers on my needles. They're in the shop right now, so cute. But this is the back, and it has this really nice cable breaking up each side of these eyelets. I did try to get the back coordinating with the front as much as possible. And the way I did this, the pattern does give you tips, so that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Because the back is about twice the width as the front pieces, you actually use 2 skeins at the same point, alternating back and forth. And so you kind of get, I guess, double the amount of, or double the length of any one color. And so it ends up working out really nice. I would say this coordinates fairly closely with the front pieces. It does not match exactly. And so like for this red part, I had a bit more of this red yarn when I was starting these front pieces. So I added that in just to lengthen it a little bit more. But look how beautiful that is with those cables. I think that is so beautiful. This yarn, I mean, all Noro yarn is just so special, but I think this colorway is so nice. I'm pretty sure I purchased this from Jimmy Bean's Wool. I'm pretty sure because it was on sale and I got an email and they lured me in and I just had to find a pattern that used it. So I was in the market anyway for a summery type cardigan, so it all worked out. It was perfect. But yeah, I am nearly to the top of this. As you can tell with these front pieces, the red is very, very close to the top. And then I have a little bit, maybe about 2 of these eyelet repeats with this kind of greeny blue color. And then once that changes, I have, it's just some short rows for shoulder shaping up on top. So very close to being done with the back. And my hope is, here's what I have so far. My hope is that with the yarn I have left, I will be able to coordinate the sleeves with the color pattern of the front and the back. I'm hoping, because it would look so nice to have 2 sleeves hanging down that coordinated the stripes and the colors and everything. I think I'll be able to, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I have these 2 balls of yarn left. And then I have this full cake of yarn. So I think I will be, I do have plenty of yarn left for 2 sleeves. There's no question about that, but it's just the color management that I really want to match. And I'm assuming, I have not read so far in the pattern, but I'm assuming that the sleeves are also knit bottom up or cuff up to echo the construction of the front and the back. So hopefully by the next time I record, this will be finished and I will be wearing it. That would be amazing. This has been such a fun pattern though. It's great. Usually patterns, I like quick patterns. I like to get them and finish them. And this one has taken a long time and I've enjoyed every minute of it because it's so easily memorizable. It's, I think it's an 8-row repeat, but you can memorize it, you can read your knitting, and it's very, very simple. So that has been a great pattern. The final project I'm working on is my granny stripe blanket, and I wanted to give you a bit of an update because I added some more yarn to it. This is definitely a long-term project, and I have been working on it for quite a while. I'm using DK weight yarn, and all of this yarn is from my mini mystery club. So it is just so special. It's all pineapple yarn, all club yarn. This is what I have so far. And I am using a G hook. So here's the actual hook, and I just keep it in my blanket. But I will go ahead and show you June's colorways because I really liked these. So these 3 right here are from my June 2025 mini mystery club. And with each club you get 3 mini skeins. And the way that I first constructed this blanket is that I figured out just through trial and error approximately how wide I could crochet a blanket with 1 mini skein. And so I think what I did is it's just to one end and back. And it was just, it was, like I said, it was just trial and error, and finally got a good stitch count. But this is how wide it is. It's very wide. So here and then here. Really nice. It definitely covers me right now if I turn it perpendicular, but I want to keep crocheting on it because it's so much fun. It's just so pretty. And this is how long it is, if you can see that. So down to there and all of this. So it's really, it has a fair amount of length on it, and it's definitely wide. So I will just keep going until I get tired of it, because I'm just going to keep dyeing clubs every month, and I will just keep adding 3. I guess it ends up being with 3 mini skeins, it ends up being 6 rows, but 6 rows is, you know, it's this much. It's not a whole lot, but for a whole year, that adds up, and it is such an enjoyable project, because I think sometimes long-term projects can get a little overwhelming. At least for me, they can. But when you have just 3 mini skeins that you're adding a month, you have so much other time to work on a sweater or work on socks. You're not consumed with these long-term projects. And that's one thing I love about having a 3 skein club, is it's just not, it's not a ton of yarn, and it's not too overwhelming. Just enough to add some stripes to a project, or in this case, add to a long-term project. And it's kind of a low commitment, I guess, a low commitment amount. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's so pretty. I love this blanket. This is, I can tell you right now, when this is done, this is going to be a favorite in my house, and I will probably rarely get to use it. So that is that for the June minis. I do have July's with me, but I just want to make sure that anyone who has not received their July, you definitely should have received them if you're in the States. But there are some folks who are not in the States, so I don't want to spoil any surprises. But that is all I have been working on. It is a lot. This is going to be such a long podcast, but I'm happy to do it. It's so much fun, and I have been enjoying all of my knitting and crocheting. It has been so enjoyable, and I will definitely consider in the future doing it every other week, just because I think it would be a lot easier for me to remember everything I've been working on. And it's hard if you go 4 weeks or an entire month without updating and recording. You forget little details, or forget modifications you may have made. So it's on my mind. I would love to hear what you think. If you want to leave a comment, I would really appreciate it. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me. And if you liked this episode, I would love if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll be back hopefully in 2 weeks. That would be great, with another podcast. I will be uploading a shop update preview in a few days with everything I'm uploading to the shop for the update, which is on the 1st of August. So until then, I hope you're enjoying all of your making, your knitting, your crocheting, everything that you're working on, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!